After an exhaustive search for the successor to Dan, Ashworth Albion announced earlier this month that they got their man, as Richard Garlick was named as the person to take the reins as Albion's sporting and technical director. Richard was a name familiar to all those who worked at the club, but to many supporters he's probably a new face, so we thought we'd take the opportunity to get to know him a little better.
I took over from Darren Eales as club secretary and legal counsel initially in May 2010, and by December 2010 I'd been appointed onto the board as a legal director, club secretary. Legal director meant that I was dealing with all legal issues that the club faces, from commercial issues to legal football issues. And in terms of, it dovetails nicely with the club secretary role, which is obviously the football administration side of things, player contracts, transfers, negotiations, arranging fixtures, all that sort of football side of things. But being based at the training ground has meant that I'm involved in pretty much all of the aspects of the football side of things.
Obviously the most high-profile aspect of the sporting and technical director job is the role that is played in transfer dealings. And Rich admits he's already had plenty of experience in that area whilst in his previous role.
Without a doubt, from when I joined back in 2010, I've been working with Dan on the deals that we were doing, and in that first season I think we did something like 11 transfers in that summer window, which was a bit of a baptism of fire for me at the time, but it was a great learning curve when you're bringing in likes of Peter Odemwingie, Simon Choi, Nicky Shorey, Paul Sharner, people like that. These were big deals, high-profile deals that we were negotiating on, and we've worked with Dan. He's kept me involved and keeps me involved in terms of where we're at with these negotiations, where they progress to, if there's any issues where we're not sure whether we can legally get away with that kind of clause. And also, certainly when the players arrive in the building, it's usually myself, Dan, and to a certain extent the chief exec, Mark Jenkins, that will sit in and finish off these final negotiations to get it over the line. Because
obviously in the coming months you're going to be working alongside Dan. It sounds like you've already got a very solid working relationship with him anyway.
Well, we've got the office next door to each other.
And thin walls.
and thin walls. So we are head round the door. We've worked together really close over the last sort of 2.5 years. We get on really well. We've got a good working relationship. We've got probably similar outlooks in life. We're both hard-working. We're both quite competitive, driven to succeed, driven to make things happen, to get things over the line, to find ways of achieving what we want to achieve. And so it's worked out well. And I'm sure when Dan moves on to the FA, that relationship will stay there, and we'll stay in touch.
Because obviously Dan's picked up a great deal of praise over the past few years for the way he's conducted himself in this job. How much of a help is it going to be having that almost handover period, if you like, working with Dan, as opposed to just coming in and taking this job cold?
Yeah, having Dan around is going to be a great help. It's not. I think the fact that I know everybody, I know all the departments, I know all the players, I know the agents, I know how the academy works, I know the youth team, I know pretty much everybody in this building, and they all know me, is something that I don't necessarily need Dan's help with in relation to that. But what Dan has got, he's got a wealth of contacts. He's still got his own ideas. If he was still here, he would have his own ideas of how to progress to the next stage. I want to feed into that and tap into that. But at the end of the day, eventually he'll be gone, and I will be making the decisions that he's made in the past, and we'll have to cut the nurse strings, as it were, and I'll at the right time, and I'll carry on as I did when I took over from Darren Eales back in the summer of 2010, when there was a handover period there. So it's not something that causes me any sort of problems. It's something that I'm going to make the best of the time that I've got with Dan. But as I say, that's once Dan's gone, that's not as if to say he's not a point of contact that I can use. along with all the other points of contact and all the other contacts and networks that I've established over these last 2.5 years.
You mentioned there about your relationships with the people who already work here, and I think that's possibly something that's often forgotten about the sporting and technical director's role, because people hone in on the external transfers and the like that are done within it, but a great deal of the role is working with the existing staff and in particular the existing players here. How have they reacted to your appointment? Have you had some grief as well, because that's always part of the job of a professional footballer, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the banter is something that I've been used to even from when I was back playing when I was a young lad. You know, banter's always been around the football change room and certainly a building like this. Yeah, I've had one or two players noticing that I was in the process of moving office and commenting on the fact that I was changing chairs and wheeling one chair in from another, and I think Ben Foster was after a camera at one point to try and get some footage of that. Stephen Reid's been very polite and very kind to me, calling me Richard now rather than Garlick, as he usually does. And Chris Brunt has already been knocking at my door and talking to me about new contracts and things like that. I think everybody now fancies their chances at a new contract. Even James Morrison, who I only did about two or 3 months ago.
Are they trying to find out whether you're a soft touch straight away?
No, I think. Well, I think they know me. They know I am. You know, I deal with the club discipline side, so you know sometimes we've had to have some difficult conversations with them. But I think overall they respect me. I've worked with them for 2.5 years. They know what I'm like. They know that I'm approachable. They know that I'll be honest with them. I'll be straight with them, and you know I'll be tough with them when they need to be tough, and I'll put an arm around them when you need to put an arm around them. But that's not. You know, a lot of that is down to the coaching staff and Steve. You know, he is the one that's working with them day in, day out. I am dipping in and out as and when issues may arise or contract negotiations take place, as a kind of as somebody sat there that they can come and speak to me if they've got issues that they want to speak to me about.
And join us for part 2 of this interview when we'll find out more about Richard and the role he's inherited.